And President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced the appointment of an 18-member Presidential Economic Advisory Council. It comprises of local and international, thought leaders. Now, the Council's main function will be to advise the President and government on economic policies to spur inclusive growth. Now, let's get some insight on this, and the Efficient Group Chief Economist Davi Ruet speaks to us this morning. Davi, good morning to you, and thanks for waking up to talk to us. So some mixed reaction on the appointment of this advisory council, with some saying it still needs to carve out its role. Do you agree with that?
Good morning to you. Well, I think there are a couple of questions in that question. First of all, I'm not 100% sure what the function of this committee is going to be, because I can promise you, as an economist, if you put two economists together in a room, you get many different options or many different opinions. So my question really is why it's such a large committee that the President has put together. They are very, very impressive individuals on this. Don't make a mistake here. But the question is, who are you going to listen to? So really, that is the first question. Are we not having too many, my apologies, too many economists here? The second question is then, of course, and I think this is more important, the function of this committee, what will it be? Will it be policy? Will it be only advice? Because we have enough of that. We really have very good policies in South Africa. We have more than enough advice in South Africa. And I guess that brings me to the main issue that I have with putting a committee like this together, and that is that are we not supposed to have a president with a vision? Are we not supposed to have a president that can take leadership and knows what he wants to do? We all know what the problems in South Africa are. The most obvious problem is simply that the civil service is not working. The president knows that. He is the chief civil servant. His job is to make sure that education works. And you don't need an advisory committee to tell you that education is not working. He knows that Eskom is not working. You don't need a committee to advise you on that. Get right people to run that institution and allow them to do that. Those are the sort of questions that I have. I think it's good to have very impressive panel, but I'm afraid I don't really see the leadership that we're really lacking in the country.
Your thoughts then, Davi, on whether the recommendations, policy recommendations that will come from this group are going to ever see the light of day, given the kind of reaction that we saw on the Treasury document that proposes to boost the economy. If you look at that kind of reaction that came from the alliance partners of the ANC, and that is still under discussion as we speak as to whether or not the governing party should indeed take that route, will the recommendations of this panel go anywhere?
That's exactly the point. Looking at the policy document from the Treasury as an example, that is exactly the way that we treat things in South Africa. It's again under discussion. Where is the leadership? Where is somebody taking the lead and saying, listen, I am going to do A, B, and C, and follow me? And I think that is the issue that we have in South Africa. We have another committee now that will put together some document perhaps, and then what? Are we going to discuss it again? And I think that is the issue. What we need is somebody to take the lead. And I must tell you, I'm quite impressed with the Minister of Finance's policy document. I think that's the kind of thing that we need to do. But we don't need to discuss it again. What we need to happen is for the President to take this and say, this is the way forward. Follow me. I am going to listen to people, but I am the leader, and I'm going to take decisions. And I don't hear that.
Economist Davi Ruet, thank you very much for those insights. He is with the Efficient Group.